Hi creatives, and welcome back to Agency Academy. And I'm so excited to be talking about one of my favorite topics, calendar planning. And I don't know if you've heard about this topic before, and if you haven't, I'm pretty sure you're going to be really seeing a game changer to your productivity, how excited you are about work, and just feeling so much calmer that you're actually getting everything done. And especially if you're a person like me who is running like a rather small business, then it's so good to just have your own calendar, everyone else's stuff organized, and in a way that is making so much more sense. So, what makes something calendar planning? Because everything seems like you would be planning in a calendar, right? So, calendar planning is also called block planning. And it's essentially when you create a schedule that's more similar to the one that you had when you went to school. So instead of just having like a long to-do list of things, which perhaps some of you feel a little bit too familiar with, we're creating different blocks in your calendar, sort of similar to how you had different subjects, like how you had math for 2 hours, for example. So a calendar plan means that everything not only is on your to-do list, but it has a specific slot in your schedule. You know you're going to have time to get to it, and you know that your schedule is optimized for when your brain is going to be most susceptible to that type of work, and all of these different things that just make work so much more enjoyable. Another great benefit of doing calendar planning is that you can actually bulk create content. So if you're someone who is spending like a little bit of time each day, for example, on your marketing or on emails or on all of these different tasks, and it just feels like you're getting a little scattered, there's too many notifications, there's too many of these different little mini tasks that are just eating up all of your time, then calendar planning will really be a great thing for you because you can schedule in, this is when I'm doing all of my content for the week on marketing, for example. So how do you actually get started with calendar planning? The first step is to put yourself in a mindset of being a big company. And of course, if you're a big company, you can still do this, but think about all of the different hats that you're wearing. So perhaps your marketing hat, your sales, your client work, your meetings, and all these different things, your accounting, all the different kind of departments that you would have in a company, that is work that you're doing anyway, but you're just putting it across all these different small tasks that make it difficult to see. So start classifying things into different departments. Then the next step is to think about how much time you actually need for each of these tasks each week. Now, we're doing the calendar plan across a week at a time. And of course, certain tasks, like maybe you just do your accounting every 2 weeks, that's totally fine. Put it anyway and make a little note of it so that, okay, this is something you don't have to do every week. And be really realistic with yourself, because I know how easy it is to overestimate how much stuff you can do. You're like, no, it's fine. I can do 10 social media posts, answer all my emails, record a new video, and do this whole client project in 2 days. And then, you're there at the end of the day, you're feeling frustrated and not so happy with yourself. So just make sure that you're being realistic and giving yourself enough time for each task. Once you know this, it's time for a little bit of self-reflection. So I know everyone has a very different way that their brain works. And so some people might think that accounting is really difficult. And so you might want to put that when you're most effective, for example. So if you find that, okay, client work is something that I really enjoy doing, I'm super excited about it, maybe you put all of the boring tasks that you find kind of tedious at the beginning of the day, and then you can put all of your client work in the afternoons, for example, or across some of the other days during the week where you might be feeling a little less motivated, like Wednesdays, for example. By kind of thinking about how your brain works and when you're most productive and when you kind of need to take more breaks, you're able to create a calendar that is so much more tailored to you, and it will work a lot better. The next thing is to actually get into creating your calendar plan. So you can either do this on a piece of paper first and then go into your calendar, or you can dive straight into your calendar. So I use Google Calendar. I find it really easy to sync with everything, but it's totally up to you what you use. And the first thing we're going to do is just to put in lunch every day, because it's so easy to forget. My belly is actually just rumbling, as well as someone kicking in there. So just make sure you put in your different schedules for lunch, schedule that time, keep it for yourself. You can also then set an end and beginning time so that you know that you're starting work at 9, you're finishing work at 5, for example, or you're starting at 10, you're finishing at 6. Whatever you want your schedule to be, make sure you start by putting out those parameters first. The next thing is to add in the different blocks that we've created. So either you can create this as theme days, where for example, every Monday you just have meetings. And then every Tuesday you just do marketing. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday you do client work, for example. That's something that some people find super helpful because you can really focus in and you can think that, okay, actually I don't have to think about marketing for the rest of the week. I did it Monday, it's out of the way. But some people find it really difficult to keep your attention span for so long on like a whole day on one type of task. And then you might want to think about breaking that amount of time into, let's say, 3 blocks across the whole week. So that's a way for you to just think about, again, how do I work best and what works best for me? And even within our business, like I work one way and my partner works a certain other way. So we have to kind of think about, okay, the things that are common for us. So things like meetings, things like scheduling the different tasks for the week, doing strategy. Those are things where we block them out first, and then we have the freedom to create our own schedules according to how we best work. Here is another important note. Make sure to also put in your schedule time for recovery, time for inspiration, and time for learning. Because when you started your business, you probably had lots of extra time and you did things like look at tutorials, you read design books, you did all these things. You went to like maybe to the museum to look for inspiration. And as we get more and more busy, I find it's just so difficult to keep up with these things because you just push them aside. You know, you do your client work that pays the bills and then you forget to keep getting excited about work. And you don't have the time to stay on top of trends as much or on like new different design skills, new programs. So make sure that you schedule that in so that it's not something that's an afterthought or if I have time, but it's a priority, which will make you a much better designer. The last thing to do is to actually test out your calendar, to give it a spin for like 1 to 3 weeks. And here is an example of where, you know, real life happens and your perfect plan might work amazing, which, you know, you're a genius, I'm sure it will. Or you might find that actually I really need way more time for client work and I really can't spend this much time on marketing, or the other way around, you know. So just figure out, okay, when do I need breaks? Is this working? Do I need to go from theme days to block days? You know, try to think about analyzing it and maybe even writing it down like in a little journal every day so that you find out what is working, what is not working, and just keep at it and tweak your calendar rather than throwing out the whole calendar if you're not sure if it works. So I hope you found this really helpful. If you thought this video was helpful to you, I think you would really enjoy our project management video. It's a 2-parter, and we'll talk you through how to go from feeling a bit unorganized and just overwhelmed. Maybe you need to take on more clients and you're not sure that you have the time for it. So we talk you through how to get clients excited about your process, how to make sure everything runs smoothly, collaboration, all that stuff. All custom, and there's even a free template for you. So I'll put that video right here and I'll see you next time. Good luck with your projects. Bye-bye. So now we're gonna dive into the template. You can find that in the description below. And then we're gonna go through how we created it so that you can add and remove any steps that you find useful or that are not so appropriate for your business, and you can really make it fit your business and your needs.